Welcome to Deep Space Pride, our first episode of 2024, and happy belated First Contact Day. There's fresh episodes of Star Trek and some news to catch up on. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Mike. How's it going? How are you?
Hey, Johnson. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, it's April. It's the day before the solar eclipse. Are you excited?
Yes.
It's like really big news. I'm kind of just like whatever, but people are very excited for it.
They are. I've not secured glasses for this, so I don't know how I'm going to observe this phenomenon.
I mean, I think you can use like sunglasses and look at it for like a second and you're fine.
Okay.
You might be okay. Yeah. They're hard to get. They're like it's like out everywhere.
Oh, okay. So someone's hoarding them. It's sort of like the pandemic all over again with toilet paper. People are hoarding sunglasses for these.
It's possible. So my friend got me a pair yesterday. I was like, thank you. And then I lost it.
Oh, well
then
done.
I had another friend go and they found some at B&H Video, that camera store.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. Yeah, I walk by there.
So, yeah, they apparently have sunglasses there for sale. So he got me one.
Oh.
So I need to go pick it up later. But I don't know. I think it might be cloudy in New York. So I don't even know if it's going to be worth all this effort. But whatever. Do I have a meeting? I should probably look at my schedule and like block it off.
Right. Yeah, you have like it's somewhere between 3 and 3:30. I want to say.
Yes, you're correct. Yeah, it's like around that range, and I probably have meetings. I do have a meeting, but I can move it. It's internal.
Yes. No, there you go. Yeah. So we have that. We've had an earthquake.
Oh, right. The earthquake. That was last week.
So that was the big news here in New York.
Did you feel it?
Yes. It shook the TV on our wall like a lot. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It literally felt like the subway was going underneath our building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think what I've been able to gather, and I'm assuming, did you not feel it?
So I felt it. Nothing rattled. Nothing shook in my apartment. Like it's not like nothing like what you experience. First of all, I had 2 hours of sleep because I had just gotten back from a red eye.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was in SF this past week. So I got back. I was on 2 hours of sleep and I was on a Zoom call. I was exhausted. I felt it, but I was so focused on the call. And I felt it. And I was like, I'm just really tired. Like,
Right.
And then sometimes it's like construction, right? Sometimes you actually literally feel the thumping. Yes. So
exactly.
I was like, maybe it's just construction or something, And then all my friends started texting. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I think that people who are in older buildings, so if your building is like over 100 years old, or if you're in a really tall skyscraper.
Is your building over 100 years old?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that was an experience. At first we were like, what is going on? And the
was
TV
Dennis home
shaking.
Too?
Yeah, Dennis was home.
Cool.
Friday, yeah.
Did Hamish freak out?
He a little bit. He like what's happening, and then he was a little skittish when we went outside. Yeah, it was something. Yeah.
Oh, it was something.
Actually it was the first earthquake that I recall experiencing. I know there have been others, and I haven't.
There have been others.
Them.
Yeah, I felt others.
But
it's really rare in New York.
Yeah, it is. But this was pretty significant. So,
no.
My favorite meme out there is a 4.8 in New York is equal to an 8 in California.
I think in terms of the level of freak out.
I don't know if it's the level of freak out, but obviously East Coast, West Coast competition, but
I see.
Yeah. I mean, also there are no tall buildings in California. So
No,
for this
yeah.
very reason, whereas we are completely surrounded by tall buildings. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah. And
But there was no, I don't, yeah, there were no major issues, I think. At least I didn't hear of any in terms
no, and
of
then did you
structural damage.
right, yeah. And then we got the emergency alert on our phones
I
45 minutes
didn't get
later.
one.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't get one.
I think your
I
phone
could have
probably
died.
thought it was still in the West Coast,
No,
possibly.
it was back in New
No,
York.
it's
I don't.
location based. It's location
Yeah,
based.
back in, okay, whatever. I don't, whatever.
Whatever. Maybe you turned off emergency alerts on your
I
settings.
don't know. I actually didn't get one. But yeah,
So yeah,
that was something. It was something.
that was some. Yes, that was something. We've got the solar eclipse tomorrow, which people are joking it's like the third big thing. I mean, we had torrential downpours here in New York most of the week.
I missed all of that because I was in SF, but I saw it on the What is New York Instagram channel.
Yes. So yeah, so someone joked that the rapture is coming tomorrow. So
okay, I'm ready.
I knew your response instantly to that news. What I would think, so I didn't say this when I heard this before, but what I think is that all you people who want to be taken are not going to be taken, and then the rest of us are going to be taken. So it'll be like a reverse
rapture.
Inverse. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever? I mean, I'm curious. Did you ever? Because a lot of this rapture, this idea of the rapture comes from this like Left Behind series. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Yes,
it was very popular amongst more, I would say, more evangelical Christian circles. Like I've never read it.
I'm definitely aware of it. I don't know that I ever read it, or if
I've never read it.
But it became didn't it become a series for one season?
There was a series. I think Nicolas Cage was in some movie adaptation of it or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. That whole rapture theology that came out of like the evangelical circles in the 80s and 90s. But anyway, we'll see.
So anyway,
I think we'll be fine. I think we're okay.
I think we'll be fine. Yes. So yeah, it's been a minute since we've recorded.
It's been over 3 months since we recorded.
Yeah. I mean, the last time we recorded was at the end of 2023, right before New Year's.
Correct.
And we've been busy. Life has been busy for both of us.
Yeah.
And there's been no new Star Trek until this week.
Unless you count the Prodigy leak that happened in France a couple weeks ago.
But no, I don't count that because I don't speak French. And as someone said, I don't want to hear Janeway. I want to hear Janeway's voice being
right, not Janeway, the French dubbed,
not the French dubbed version of this. So
right.
I haven't seen any spoilers online, so
I haven't seen any spoilers either. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but there's been some more recent news, right? So
yes.
Than that, the biggest thing I think, well, one of the big things was that, well, there's a couple of things, right? There's the Section 31 movie is wrapped,
right?
And then there's even word that Michelle Yeoh would come back and do another one.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. And then there was that Variety article that kind of spilled some beans about the Section 31 movie. Remember, it was like he mentioned that one of the actresses plays Rachel Garrett, and that was like, what? That's new news.
That is new news, and it gives us a time period to think about.
Right. Well, there's some theories that people are having that it might be kind of like, because they kind of are comparing it to some sort of like heist movie. So is it like, are they jumping through time? Is it actually different periods, including that early 24th century period? I don't know. I have no idea. Or she like recruiting like different Starfleet captains. Like, who knows?
Oh yeah. Who knows? Really? Yeah. This is
that's cool though. I like the I like that they're tapping into that because it is, we don't know much about Rachel Garrett at all other than from yesterday's Enterprise. So
right.
that's neat idea.
And she died in halfway through. So
I know.
So
Oh, poor
yeah,
Rachel
we don't
Garrett.
know
Yeah.
the only female captain of the Enterprise thus far up until Captain Seven.
Right.
Um,
Seven.
so yeah. So that was that was
Yeah.
kind of interesting. So I didn't know about your time travel theory, but because we always assumed that she would end up in like what 2500, like somewhere
Or
somewhere
closer to when Discovery's period, at least, I would say. But
closer to the original Discovery's place versus the 1,000 years in the future.
Correct. Yeah.
Not necessarily in Discovery era because
no, but closer to that 23rd century, 23rd, 25th century, probably.
Yeah, that range,
that era,
But no Shazad,
no Shajah Latif by Shazad.
So that's not he's not part of this. So or at least this first one. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with this. This sounds promising. I mean, it was always promising, but now it seems real. And I guess the word, what little word there is, it seems very positive that this is a good movie.
Yeah, remember like going back to the 90s, like they used to have like a lot of TV movies like on network channels.
Yeah.
That has not been a thing unless you count Hallmark, like, the Hallmark movies or something like that. And I would say that at least back then, because I used to watch a lot of TV movies, I would say the quality can be all over the place, because it's definitely not theatrical quality. It may be better than an episode, but I don't know. I think I'm curbing my expectations. I'm like, okay, you know what? Michelle Yeoh's in it, so it can't be trash. But like, I don't know. I think TV movies are very like hit or miss. Like, if you're lucky, it's better than a regular episode. If you're unlucky, it can be very bad. So I have no idea.
Yeah, but I think the quality of like the productions, they're not going to put out something that's, not the quality of Strange New Worlds and Discovery. Like they have that big AR wall. They have, they have the ability to make really great sets. They have sets that they can redress to.
Right. I'm not worried about the production. I'm like, is the story going to be good?
Oh, okay.
I think modern day productions are, pretty quality. It's like, oh, it's just like you put money on it. But I hope that's a good story,
Yeah, I feel like Michelle Yeoh wouldn't do it if it didn't have a good story.
I mean, maybe. She was in that, like, you remember the Witcher Origins thing? Did you ever watch that? It was okay. Like, it was a Witcher prequel on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I watched an episode.
It was like mediocre.
Oh, okay.
At best. So, whatever. We'll see.
That was slightly earlier before she won Academy Award and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago or something.
Okay.
But
here's hoping.
Here's hoping.
We hope that it will be good and that it will lead to more.
Of course.
More. So that was
now there's like potential rumblings that there could be a legacy movie. I'm like,
right. And then there even earlier before all of this was the word that there was a Picard script running around for a movie.
Well, I feel that was more. I feel that came from Patrick Stewart, I believe.
Yeah,
I think he was talking to someone, and I don't know. I mean, I personally, I don't know how you feel. I don't need another Picard movie or whatever. I think we're good. I'm good. I was really happy with Picard season 3. It was a great send off. He's old. Like, I'm good. I don't need it. I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't need it. I only need it if it will prove the audience for a legacy show.
Maybe,
but we'll see. I mean,
maybe.
So speaking of legacy, the other piece of this news was that Alex Kurtzman is not making the decision on this legacy thing. It is quote unquote above his pay grade.
Right.
Which, as the executive producer of all of Star Trek, I do not understand that context.
Well, I think that probably with everything that's going on in Paramount, like he can't make. I wouldn't be surprised if there's just things that are out of his control, because it's like literally Paramount from a higher, like from an executive perspective, it's in turmoil. So in terms of next steps of what's happening with the studio and what's happening with Paramount Plus, it's losing money. Like, there's just like so many considerations there from a business perspective that he probably only has so much money to work with. And it sounds like Starfleet Academy is going to be really expensive. So I don't even, know how much money he has to distribute for new content.
Right. So, I don't know if Starfleet Academy is going to be expensive. I mean, they're building the largest one-piece set ever.
Right.
But then and it sounds like
there's a big writer's room. I don't know. I have no idea how these budgets work.
Yeah, I don't really either. But I think the whole point of having one big set is that you won't be building additional sets afterwards, if that makes sense. Like you're investing upfront in this one set, and you don't have to, like, it's what you'll use over a couple of years. So
right. I mean, it's like they did something similar with Deep Space Nine. I mean, they built the whole promenade, and that was like a massive set. But that was a lot. That was really expensive. And then basically almost like half the first season, it was like all bottle episodes because they had to just save money. I don't know,
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there's just like, there's like bigger, like, I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of political considerations at Paramount at the moment that he can only do so much about.
Okay.
So when it comes to money, know.
Well, they did announce, right, that they're moving on to Star Trek 5, that Star Trek 4 is dead.
I don't know what's going on.
So now they're moving on to Star Trek 5.
No idea.
As a writer, I believe. Yeah. Well,
it's very confusing.
There's a lot happening. And some of it we know and some of it we don't know.
Yeah.
Including who's going to buy Paramount or whether they're going to break it up.
There's been a lot on the rumor mill when it comes to what's going on with Paramount. So I don't know if it's even worth talking about because I feel it changes every week.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean, it's pretty clear our opinions on Paramount, how they've run at least Star Trek, and this isn't directed at Alex Kurtzman, but their marketing of Star Trek is just abysmal. So. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe, yeah. I mean, this whole Skydance media purchase, I mean, would be interesting if they were just purchasing certain IPs. So, including Star Trek. So,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that would actually be better for Star Trek if they were purchased by like a new stakeholder that actually knew how to work with the IP. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate that it's so messy, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here we are. Here we've been. It's not even.
That's true. Here we've been.
This is not like new territory. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I am excited for Starfleet Academy. I know we talked about Tawny Newsome being in the writer's room gives us some enthusiasm for it, but it does sound like they're actually investing in it. They want to try to bring a new audience. I heard some more interviews recently where there's definitely, and we know this, like the Star Trek user base is not young, especially when you go to these conventions, or, I mean, I haven't gone to a convention in a while, but I'll see photos of people that are at the Star Trek cruise. I'm like, oh my God, everyone's already old. It's just like, there's not like a lot of young people. I'm not saying there are none, but it's not a very fresh faced franchise. I think that they definitely need to be doing more to bring in that younger audience. I don't know if Starfleet Academy's gonna do it because it's like, will people be like, oh my God, there's like this like, I don't know, oh, Starfleet Academy, I gotta watch it now. If I was a Gen Zer, it's like, oh my God. I have no idea. It comes down to how they can market it, unfortunately, and how they sell it. And hopefully they cast some good, I don't know, maybe they need to cast a few influencers or something to kind of get it some traction. But yeah,
I'm dubious about them hiring influencers, but
well, at least younger stars that have a good social following.
Yeah.
Who are intrinsically influencers, because then they can at least tap their current social followings to watch at the very least. Because yeah, if they tap someone that's like too green or they don't have any recognition, then that could be a tough sell, because so much of the actual user base that comes in at the onset is going to be based upon who's actually recognizable, who's going to be on the red carpet when they do press tours. Like, are people going to care? I don't know, so
right.
They want to hopefully try to bring in, if they want to try to bring in a fresh audience, I think that, at least try to cast some folks that have some recognition.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But I think that's very far away. The last thing I heard is like it's 2026.
Yes. Well, very, I think Alex Kurtzman said it'll come out when it's ready, and I don't know if he said 2026 or if he just intimated that it could possibly not show up for a while. So, Speaking of a while, I mean, right now they're filming episode 7 of season 3 of Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
So they're still in the midst of recording. Recording? Is that the right word?
Filming.
I don't know. Filming. Thank you. Filming that the new season, which is not going to be out until 2025. So
I mean, it's possible that it could come out this year if they rush post.
Yeah, they're not going to rush post.
Post it takes forever nowadays. It's just too. It's just so much post.
Yes.
I don't know how we did it back in the 90s when they would pump out 26 episodes in a year. There's just less post. I mean, there was post, but it just didn't take this long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're recording in 4K or 8K. And
I think the special effects just take a lot longer now because it's so elaborate.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus music and all of that. So,
but they had all that. They had all that in the original, the 90s series, the Rick Berman era. I don't know. I have no idea how they did it.
I feel like the music back then was more thematic, and they just used this kind of the same music over and over again, and which is why, at least in my opinion, the music, I'm still more in touch with the music of that time period than I am with the new albums of music that are released for the newer series.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It's either way, it's not going to come out for a while. It's a lot,
which is fine. I'm happy that they're back filming, and anxious to see what stories they're going to do this year.
Yeah. I mean, so what we know, obviously we're in Discovery season 5. We still don't know when Prodigy is going to be formally released by Netflix.
Right.
It's still, I haven't heard anything. There are no news. We think that Lower Decks will probably be, at least based upon what I've heard, it's not going to be too far off from their usual summer time frame.
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem like they lost that much time with the strike. So I think that, hopefully still August, maybe September. But
yeah,
I think that's really it in terms of anything more definitive.
Yeah, I think Lower Decks the first 4 seasons have been in a consistent time frame.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years. So, yeah. So we'll have that in the summer, and then who knows? Obviously, Prodigy is done and ready to go.
Yeah, so, it's when is Netflix going to give it to us?
Yes, exactly. And is it a one drop? Is it going to be the 20 episodes like the French TV? What's going to happen?
Right.
So,
Right.
because then, if it's a one drop, then we're all going to be rushing to watch it because then the spoilers
Oh yeah. Oh
will
my God.
happen.
It
And
has to be. They have to at least split 10 and 10. There's 20 episodes. Could you imagine them dropping all 20 episodes at one time? Like, that's gonna be
I
a lot.
mean, French TV did.
Yeah. They dropped all 20?
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Don't know. But I'm hoping it'll be after Discovery, obviously, so we don't have to
Yeah,
try
I
to
think
binge
so.
watch 10 hours of Prodigy in a week so that we'll be able to talk about it and be relevant before it's all spoiled.
I don't know. I watched a lot. When I go on a binge, I'm like hardcore. So I don't know what you've been recently. We don't have to go too far into the rabbit hole. Did you watch One Day? This drama series on Netflix.
No, I did not watch One Day. What is One Day?
It's okay. It's good. It's like I had like one tear. Uh, it was
So
14
therefore,
episodes.
it's pretty emotional if you've had one tear.
It was 14 episodes.
14.
It's
Oh my God.
14, around 30 minutes per episode. I heard my friends talking about it. Oh, so good, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right. I was just curious. So I watched it. I watched 14 episodes in one sitting. I got up once to pee. I watched it
You're
from,
crazy.
I think, 8:30 p.m. to like 3 a.m. And
oh my word.
Well, it's like one of those things where I was like, okay, I watched, 5 episodes. All right, 7 episodes. All right, maybe 10 episodes. And then at some point, it was just like, I just got to finish this and move on with my life. So,
this
I
One
don't know
Day
if that's
is not even showing up in this matched for me section of Netflix.
I don't think, it's not, I don't think it's our regular genre. It's like it's a drama series.
Okay.
So
do you want to give the...
So
I can't even remember if I finished Bodies, to be honest.
Oh, I actually didn't.
I don't even know if I finished Bodies.
Bodies was good. I didn't finish it. It got like I got like a little. So some things about it that was like, oh, I need to finish this later. It's making me mad. So I didn't finish it. So one day, it's actually there's a film adaptation. It's based on a book. There's a film adaptation. I believe it was with Anne Hathaway and Jim Sturgis. And this is a Netflix remake of the book. But the basic premise is that you have these two friends. They met in college and they're friends. And it's about the development of their relationship, romantic relationship, but over the course of 20 years. And each episode is one day out of a year.
Oh, I do remember hearing about this now that you've explained it.
And I really like to, I'm not really into romantic dramas or anything like that or rom-coms, but I like this because it was interesting. The premise was interesting to me. And I actually really appreciated that it showcased a very messy relationship, like a messy friendship that turns into a relationship. And not to give too much away, but it's interesting where they kind of showcase how you just have seasons in life, and sometimes one person's ready, the other person's not, and vice versa. And you have ups and downs, and sometimes you fall out of friendship, back into friendship. And it felt very kind of real in that way, where it was just very messy. And sometimes the episodes make you feel kind of like, oh, that doesn't make me feel good, because it was just very messy. But that kind of made it kind of feel a little more authentic in the way that it kind of showcased how friendships or relationships or any kind of relationship can kind of grow and evolve over time. So I like that. And yeah, I thought the two leads have great chemistry. I thought that it was well done from a production standpoint because it's Netflix, so they threw money at it. Yeah, I liked it.
Okay.
So that, all right. Watching one day, and Three Body Problem, I watched in 2 days. So that was interesting. I know you're still working through it, but.
Well, I mean, I just started, I watched the first half of the first episode, didn't really grab me. It's kind of confusing, wasn't sure what I was watching. Really? Gave up on it. Well, at least in the first episode. I mean,
okay.
Because it's from what I recall, because I picked it up where I left off. like there was a lot of the first half of it is a lot of Chinese stuff, and you have to pay attention and read the subtitles, and yeah, it just wasn't grabbing me. So yeah, yesterday after I rewatched episodes 1 and 2 of Discovery, I was comfortable on the couch and I just picked it up, and by the halfway through the second episode, I was into it a little bit more.
Okay.
And yeah, because the beginning of it, there's deaths, there's you don't know any of these characters. You're jumping around the world. You're jumping time.
It's their setup. Yeah.
I mean, it's so it was just confusing, and I really wasn't. I didn't want to work.
I mean, you have to pay attention, yeah, because they go through. They introduce a lot of characters in the first episode, and the time jumps you have to be paying attention to it. You can't just be like cooking and like watching it. You really need to sit down and watch it.
Well, yeah, no, you can't really, because of the subtitles too, but also like.
But they also introduce us a lot of ideas in the first episode.
Yeah,
like just like thematic ideas and whatever. So
you don't even understand what the 3-body problem is until the third.
Oh episode. Yeah, you have to kind of.
You don't even know where the title comes from until the third episode, basically.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm into it. I'm partway through episode 4.
Okay. I mean, it has.
I'm happy it's 8 episodes. I'm happy it's 8 episodes, so it's not a huge commitment. But
I promise that Rosalind Chow is in more of it. Like she has more meaty scenes later.
Okay, that's fine.
I love Rosalind Chow. Takeo.
It is a nice throwback to Deep Space Nine. So yes,
yeah.
No, I have. What else have I been watching? Well, I mean, The Bad Batch and X-Men 97 are.
Oh, X-Men 97, right, yes. Oh my god, it's such a throwback. I love it
for sure.
So it's very much in the spirit of the original X-Men animated series.
X-Men, yeah.
I love how they recreated the opening title sequence very faithfully.
And fantastic. The closing ones as well.
Oh, I didn't watch the closing one.
Yeah. At least the initial part of it, they show all.
They show like the. Sorry, I remember now. The
different people,
the different characters and their abilities.
Yeah. So
it's just that original title sequence is so memorable.
Yes. Well, the music especially.
Oh gosh, the music so good.
So yeah. So that's been good. I am rewatching Babylon 5.
Okay. I never finished last season of Babylon 5.
Well, so I mean, I'm just into season 4 now, and I have to savor the 4th season, because obviously the 4th season, from my perspective, is when it ends technically, because they only came back with the 5th season much much later, and
it just feels weird because I want to start watching season 5, and you can tell it's almost like they tacked on, like additional story because they resolved everything with the Shadow War. So it's kind of like, okay.
Yes, because they had to, because they thought they weren't being renewed.
Right.
So, and then suddenly they were renewed, and so then they came up with this whole other storyline, and or 2 storylines.
Which I didn't. Do you think I should watch it? Go back and watch it? Because I just wasn't feeling. I watched 2 episodes. I just wasn't feeling it. Do you think I should finish?
I don't know. I'll have to tell you when I get to the end of season 4.
Okay. I mean,
because I will literally jump from the end of season 4, because now they've moved the finale that I know to the end of season 5. So I will jump to the end of season 5 to watch the finale as I know it, and then yes, for me, the biggest challenge, and this is actually true for all of like the 90s, 80s, 90s television. I was really upset with the death of Tasha Yar. I mean, we lost Dr. Crusher for a season. We had Jadzia, another favorite character of mine, killed at the end of season 6.
Sure.
And so right in that same time frame, Commander Ivanova leaves the show. So she's a favorite of mine as well. So yeah,
I love Ivanova.
And the I can't think of her name right now because it's not important. But the captain who comes on and takes over in season 5 is just not. It's not Ivanova. It should be Ivanova, but it's not.
No.
So yeah. So yeah, but I'm in the second episode of season 4. It's just one of my favorite stories. And I'm actually watching it with more of a critical eye. I mean, it is not, it doesn't hold up visually.
Absolutely not visually.
But it was cutting edge back then.
Correct.
But the storyline and the characters, the characters of Babylon 5 are just the heart of this show. And and he's J. Michael I never can say his name right. Straczynski has pitched a new redo of Babylon 5 to
like a remake,
others.
or a reboot.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, reboot, remake, and they didn't pick it up yet.
Did you watch the animated film that came out? Was it last year?
Yep, I bought it. I paid for it.
Was it good?
It was good.
Serviceable.
It was, it's an animated, so it's different. And I actually pre-ordered it because at the time I was still reading Twitter, and that's where he writes mostly. And
he's very active.
So he's talking about it, or it would show up once in a while on my feed. I pre-ordered it because every little bit helps them show the support for a reboot. So,
sure. Yeah.
So I thought it was good. And you know what I love about it too, and he wrote about this a little bit, was that all the surviving actors had to sign off on doing this project. So if even one of them said, no, I don't want to do this, then they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we talked about this, but that cast, so many of them have passed.
Yeah.
Or they face like tragedy or something like that. And it's sad,
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Really is. So
meanwhile, we still have our entire TNG cast, which I think is a miracle considering
Yes.
So
yeah, for sure. We're definitely blessed in that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
death comes for all of us, obviously, but still, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And William Shatner just turned 90 something, or
he has so much energy. I don't know how he does that at 90.
He's still kicking. Has a new documentary out.
I heard about it. I'm not really interested in watching it, but I did read a review or two about it, and it seems like it's interesting. I'm just not that interested in William Shatner to watch a whole documentary about him, to be totally honest, but I heard it's all right.
Yeah. So that's we've watched a few things here and there on Netflix and gone back and watched other things. So it's I can't.
I need something new. I don't know what it is. I need something new to watch.
The Gentleman is actually interesting on Netflix.
I heard that's good.
Yeah,
I might give
that's the other thing. That's the other thing that I've been watching, and Oh, and I've been rewatching Doctor Who when Matt Smith was the Doctor. So.
Oh wow, throwback.
Yeah. So 10-ish years ago, or longer than that now, but
it's been a while
doing that, and we have a lot of new TV coming out, which is great. I mean, it's great. We have So there's a bunch of things. There's Star Wars coming out. There's the Tales of the Empire coming out May 4th. There's The Acolyte coming out June 4th. and Doctor Who's coming out like May 10th.
Wow.
So, for IPs that I grew up with, right? There was Star Trek, Star
Right.
Wars, and Doctor Who,
Sure,
and
sure.
Babylon
Yeah.
5. Those, so
Hmm.
it's sort of a plethora of riches in that
Sure. Yeah.
realm right now. So, yeah. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. The occasional show here or there that Dennis and I watch together, but like Will Trent and things like that. But
What's Will Trent?
it's a like crime drama series on
Oh,
ABC slash
oh,
Hulu.
okay. Oh,
Yeah. So, but
all right.
maybe we should bring it back to Star Trek since this is a
Yes,
Star
yes.
Trek
We can pivot
podcast.
back to Star Trek Discovery.
Yes, which has
Yes.
new episodes now.
New
We
episodes.
got
Yes.
2 episodes to talk about: Red Directive
Yes.
and Under the Two Moons.
The twin moons. Yes.
Under the Two Moons or
Under
Twin
the
Moons?
twin moons. Twin
Twin
moons.
Moons. Right, right, right.
Yes.
So our Discovery cast is back for the final season, and yeah, where do you want to start with these?
Yeah. I mean, we can start with why don't we start with general reactions and then we can dig into the specific episodes. Why don't we do that?
Sure.
So, Mike, what was your general reaction to these two episodes?
It's Discovery. That's my sort of general, everything that's come to define Discovery is happening here, So,
Uh-huh.
yeah. There was some comment.
Like what, the good and the bad, or
I mean, mostly good.
elaborate?
Yeah, I would say mostly good. I don't have any bad things to say about it right now. Um, it's nice to see the cast. The only bad thing that I learned recently and this goes back to the news a little bit, is that Wilson Cruz didn't go back for any wrap up scenes.
Yeah, I didn't know that until you mentioned it, actually.
Yeah, so I'm
That's too
kind of
bad.
bummed about that. He was on location filming this new film of his that's coming out next month. Um, something about the bride. I don't remember what it's called, but
Huh.
so he couldn't go to Toronto for the reshoots. So I'm kind of bummed about that. He and Sonequa were in New York doing the all the promotion for it this past week.
Right.
So he had a lot on his
about that. Yeah.
Instagram feed for that. No, so it's very Discovery. The first episode brings everybody back together, including Mary Weissman, which I'm actually really excited that Tilly is
Yes,
back.
I'm glad she's back. I'm sad we never got to see her play. Even we tried
Yeah.
twice. We tried twice. I mean, that's why I believe that's the main reason why she was so in and out of season 4. So it would have been nice. But yeah, it's nice to have her back for sure.
Yeah. It's nice to, and you get a lot of setup. Even so, they filmed the whole season, didn't know that this was the last season, and it feels very much already like it's the final season. Like this is the wrap up of the crew, even though it wasn't planned that way. So I like that. So you learn that the pathway drive is won out over the spore drive in the
Which
32nd
I'm
century.
still kind of like, how can anything beat? First of all, it was kind of just like, I can't believe they just gave up on it because the spore drive can probably beat any other drive. If you can instantaneously jump somewhere, how can that possibly beat out like any sort of other kind of propulsion? But it seems like they kind of just gave up on it. I'm like, all right.
Well, I mean, I guess it was a competition, right? The pathway drive won out. I think there was some reference as I watched it the second time. There's some reference to the fact that, Book is sort of responsible for it not being successful because
right, because what happened with Parka.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason why it didn't.
I guess I'm kind of just like, all right, I guess. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. But you get a sense of where everybody's at, right? He's
Right.
struggling with legacy, um, and Mary Wiseman is back, and it was great to see her like flirting with this other teacher, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we didn't get much information about him. He's kind of cute, but I don't know. Other than that, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah, his name is Lieutenant Jax, is what I've been able to uncover, but that's all that we really know about him.
Yeah.
So it was great to see that. It was great to see Adira and Paul and Hugh together at this party. It was funny that Tilly like snuck off to talk to this other guy. So
sure. Yeah.
And then we see Michael and the Admiral beam into the Infinity Room, which is an interesting little thing.
It's fine.
So a white room.
It's kind of reminds me of like the construct from the Matrix. I don't know if you remember that. It's like when they do the training room, it basically is just a white room.
Oh, right, the training room. Yes, that's true. Yeah. So we have Kovich being very Kovichy in this episode. And I don't know. Have we ever?
Are we talking about general thoughts, or are we talking about episodes?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I started with general thoughts, saying it was very discovery, but then I started diving in. Oh. So I like seeing all the cast. I like the involvement of Awoshikun and Reese in the away mission. I love to hate the new Captain Raynor.
No, I didn't mind him.
No, he's just no.
But I feel he always plays like a similar kind of curmudgeon-y character. Like
I'm not familiar with him. I can't.
I only really know him from Battlestar. Galactica.
Yeah, and I don't remember who he played in Battlestar.
He was just one of the Cylons. He was one of the human Cylons.
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was like he was a reporter. Oh no, he wasn't. Lucy Lawless was a reporter. He was like someone else, and then he was one of the models, the human models.
Oh, interesting.
The 7 human models before the final 5. It's been a while since Battlestar.
Sorry, yeah.
So, but I feel he plays kind of like a similar kind of just like very.
I think he looks a lot like Daniel Craig.
I can see that a little bit.
So that was kind of confusing to me at first. Like he looks very much like James Bond, and I can see that. And he's playing a species from Deep Space Nine, but I don't know what species.
Some random species that have like I think one appearance or something like that.
Yeah. But I don't even know which episode or where it came from.
I heard that too, but I didn't. It didn't bother me enough to track it down. But
I didn't either.
Like one of those like one species that doesn't really have much to work off of.
Yeah. So, I like the callback. There was some Picard callbacks. Obviously the revelation that we've all been that we knew about.
You're talking about
chase.
The chase, yes.
Yeah. The chase. So that's interesting.
Yeah, my general impressions, I think, were similar to yours. So obviously we can deep dive into Red Directive and then Under the Twin Moons. But I think I'm similar. It's Discovery, the good and the less good. I do think that they're giving more of the characters time, which I think is good. It's not just, I know we were talking about this back in December. It's not just I feel it's a little bit less the Michael Burnham show. I think they're trying to distribute the time a little bit more. I still don't think we're going to get much time with the bridge crew, but that's a given at this point. I know they changed the format of this season, but it still feels kind of very much kind of like a fetch quest episode. Literally, I feel every episode they're going to find one new puzzle piece. It's going to be puzzle piece, and then the clue to the next one. It's gonna follow. I feel there's gonna be this formula. We got screeners for episodes 3 and 4, but I have not watched it yet. But I have an inkling that literally, because by the end of the second episode, it's like there are 4 more pieces. I'm like, okay. Like,
yeah, okay. Right. Yes. No, and then I was like, okay, so there's 4 more episodes, and then what happens? So
and then it's probably gonna reveal something else.
Yeah,
I can. Yeah, it's I think the thing, and this is what we were talking about when we were also seeing some of the previews for season 5. I think a good way to characterize Discovery, it's very bombastic. Let me just say that it's very bombastic. It's very in your face. It's not subtle. It's not a subtle show. Episode 1, I think that my favorite moment was definitely the reveal that this ties back to the chase. And I did watch it with a friend, and we were both gasping. That was great. But I think most of the episode, it was like, oh my God, it's just like you have your like there's a speed race, and then oh my God, there's an avalanche, and oh my God, it's like another like oh my God moment, which is fine, but it is Discovery. It's like how over the top can we make it, and how bombastic can we make it? And at some point, it kind of loses its effectiveness, right? Episode 2, similarly, like when Michael and Saru are on a planet, literally this is a really long sequence of them trying to avoid the drones and them trying to figure it out. And I'm like, how long is this going to be? Because I literally fell asleep because first of all, I was tired. I was like, I watched it. It was like my red eye day. So I was like tired, but they're going to be fine. They're going to be, Michael and Saru are not going to die on this random planet. They're going to be fine. And I was just like, oh my God, how long is this going to have to drag out? And it was just like, it was, it was fine. It was fine. I am glad that I think the biggest payoff of that scene was Captain Raynor coming in and helping them to problem solve the situation. Mm-hmm. I like that. And then obviously that payoff by the end of the episode, but it was just like so long. I was just like, oh my God. It's like the, same thing about episode 1. It's like, oh my God, how long are we going to like race through the desert? And like, oh my God, it's like, whatever. So, because we don't always come to Star Trek for that, like it's once in a while is fine. But I think we come to Star Trek for the character moments and like, the character development and things like that. But again, it's to your point, it is very Discovery, right? So
yeah, I didn't mind the second episode as much. Yeah, I didn't.
I just fell asleep. I didn't mind. I don't think I minded.
Yeah, no. I actually, and one of the things I realized was it was all very core cast related only. Like there was no extras really. Mm-hmm. Like outside of the main baddies, which I feel like aren't going to turn into baddie, or semi baddies. They're going to be
redeemed, or at least Maul's going to be redeemed because now there's this connection with Book. So now there has to be some sort of redemption arc for her.
Yeah, so
she's Book's family. So I can see that happening.
Well, she's Booker's family, right? The namesake, not
right,
but his closest.
The closest things he has to family at the moment.
Yeah.
Like relate from a relational standpoint.
So. So I didn't mind the extended sequence on the planet. I actually surprisingly, I think I did enjoy the planetary expedition part of episode 2. Mm-hmm. I enjoy I enjoy the banter between Saru and Burnham. It's very heartfelt and authentic. Like it's a,
I mean, they have so much history. So
they have all the history, right? So it's just it's nice to see that, and and I didn't mind that, and I thought, running around the jungle was fun, it was
a lot running around the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, so let's see, the Adira Tilly stuff was really good, and then Raynor coming in and like spurring them into action.
Yeah.
I thought that was all really good. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so we can get a little bit more into each episode. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on the first episode, Red Directive?
yeah. So the first episode, the Red Directive, obviously it had the job of, I think, setting up the season. So
Right.
it had a little bit of that exposition as, oh, how long has it been since the season 4 finale? Where's everyone at? And to your point, I think it's also setting up the character arcs for the season, which I appreciated. I think everyone's kind of in the process of figuring out, all their situations or situationships, like in certain cases, right?
Yeah.
So I like that. I appreciate it. Again, I'm glad that, it sounds like it feels like Tilly's back full time. So
Yeah.
that's good. But each person does seem to be on their own character path or journey, which I appreciated. We kind of have that kind of as a setup. I think, I'm interested to see where they bring certain characters and where, because it did very, I know they didn't anticipate this being the last season, but I feel there are still hints of that. Like, because it was weird, right? Because there was still like, there are hints that this is going to be their, like, because even when Michael and Saru were talking, they're like, oh, this is like the last dance or yada, yada, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
There's like these hints, like, it's interesting that they had that, but it seems to be coincidence that, maybe they thought it could be the last season. They didn't know it was going to be the last season, but there's definitely those foreshadowings that, this is going to be somewhat of a send off.
Yeah, and I don't think this was done in the editing room. I think this was very genuinely put into the script from the
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean, it sounds like what they were able to go back and record is more kind of an epilogue. So it wasn't, it's not like inserted like new scenes. So it's just funny that, there are so many hints that this might be kind of their last journey. And to your point, like in a lot of these situations, these characters figuring out their future, right? Maybe post-discovery. Like Stam is trying to figure out, like, what his, now that, the Spore Drive program is has been shuttered, what his legacy is going to be. In case of Tilly, it's like, oh, it's like her last hurrah on Discovery before she goes back to teaching at the academy full time. It's just like these things. Saru obviously leaving Discovery and considering he and Tarina are so amazing. I love their banter. Oh my God. And it's funny, like I was like, oh my gosh, it's very like jokey, like, because she was like, what's on your mind? Do I need to mind meld you or something?
Yes, yes, yeah.
That was really funny. Like there are moments like that, but anyway, they're amazing. But it seems like each character rather, is kind of thinking about what's next. And it almost seems like they're all going on the send off.
Yes, yeah, I would agree.
It just almost seems like it's by providence that, like they set it up this way.
Or maybe, yes, I think, yeah, let's say it's by providence. I wonder if there wasn't some,
or they inkling, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they suspected and they worked it in and didn't really tell the cast until that Zoom call that they did a year ago. So yeah, I like the additional, like the extra. I'm trying to get to a thought here. I'm talking it out because while you were talking, I was like, yeah, I really like the Trina Saru piece, but I also like the, Admiral aspect of Vance and how he is with Tilly, which continues from season 4. So there's that, that connection. And, I like that they brought back Kovich. Yeah. So I just, I almost feel like had this been able to go on beyond this season, I think we would have like we were starting to reach where we wanted to be all along, which was like this extended family of characters had more backstory and more action and more things to do. Like it was great for Reese and Awoshikan to be on the away mission. And
even though they got like trapped, like, you know, like
yeah, they got trapped. Yeah. So which is sort of advantageous because they never really knew what they were looking for, but then only Burnham saw the little puzzle box, right. Romulan puzzle box, which kept the secrecy of the mission for longer, I guess. But then you didn't see them again because they were in sickbay. So whatever, they got messed up pretty bad, and then you don't see any of the bridge crew in episode 2 at all. Mm. Like it's literally just the title sequence cast plus a few guest stars. So everyone had episode 2 off except for the main cast.
Right.
Right. So there's that. Yeah, I just it really does. I agree. It's felt very foreshadowing. I have to say, I'm hoping that the epilogue, this is one of my hopes. I'm jumping ahead, and we need to talk about this season thing at the end of episode 1, because there's some interesting stuff in there. But jumping ahead to this epilogue, I'm hoping that they sort of go back and like explain the short trek where Zora is left.
Oh my god, I don't know if we're gonna get that wrap up. Like,
I mean, maybe we won't, but I kind of feel like that's like almost a good place to end it, because I feel like Discovery is gonna go away. Like I think that's gonna be part of the finale, and maybe why this crew all splits up in the end. Is that they do that. But anyway, that's just a foreshadowing thought that I had.
That'd be interesting. I don't know if they're gonna. Maybe I don't know if they're gonna spend the time to kind of tie it back to that short track. But
yeah, who knows? But yeah, I'm trying to remember how. Red Directive ends by her learning the whole progenitors piece of the puzzle, and
which I have totally. The chase remains like one of those episodes where I thought it was a good episode, but it's definitely one of those, oh my god, let's drop a big bomb of how the mythology of Star Trek and let's never talk about it again. It's like, oh yeah, we all come, basically every humanoid species in the Milky Way come from a common ancestry. Next episode, like it's just so interesting. And obviously that's how it worked back then, but it's like, okay, is there some sort of follow-up? So it's a worthwhile, I think, thread to bring back. That it's definitely worth exploring. But now I'm kind of just like, is it gonna turn into some sort of weapon? That's gonna threaten every humanoid species in the Milky Way. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if this is what it led to.
Right. Well, COVID definitely like leans into that a little bit, and like this is the greatest weapon ever devised. Like it's the power of creation.
Did he say it's a weapon?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't say weapon, but he made it seem
some sort of technology. But in terms of how they seeded, I guess, all these planets or something. I mean, when that episode came, I mean, I guess, okay, maybe it's something I'm missing. But when the chase first, when they kind of positioned this whole thing, I was like, literally, they just seeded, put their DNA, scatter some DNA on every planet, and let the evolutionary process do its, but they basically they created the process for which human beings can come into existence. But I feel there was this like jump from what they did to this like this greatest power or technology, or whatever. I was like, how they make that connection when they don't really know that much about it. Yeah. I felt that was a leap personally.
Interesting.
Because literally, because there is this evolutionary theory where intelligent life, at least on Earth, came about because literally it's like an asteroid that like came, and then like there might be some new genetic material that like actually started life, as intelligent life as we know it.
Right.
So that's literally how I thought about the progenitors. Like they scattered some of their DNA, and maybe that started it. Versus like this great technology, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out in episode 9.
Okay, probably the way that Discovery tracks, I wouldn't be surprised if that's when we find out.
Yes,
everything.
The end of episode 9.
Yeah.
So you literally have one episode to wrap it up.
Yeah.
In true Discovery style.
Yeah.
So yes. Yeah. So we get. I actually went back and watched the chase, and it was a enjoyable.
Yeah, no, that's
episode.
Good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically the structure of the season. Like they literally have to go hunt down puzzle pieces.
The 5 piece, these 5 puzzle pieces, and yes,
and then assemble it.
Yeah, and then what? Yeah. Then what happens? Then what's next? So yes,
except that was 1 episode versus 10. So
right, yes, exactly. In this case, what? So she learns that Michael learns the whole story from Kovich, and that's where episode 1 ends. And now we're under the earth, and she tells him this is where the next piece of this puzzle is, based upon the stuff in the book. Oh, we didn't even talk about Fred. Fred was a very I don't know, what do we want to call it?
Some type of android.
Yes, but like an Easter egg is what I was looking for. It's like a Easter egg.
He's immediately recognizable as a Soong type android.
Oh yeah, no, yes, most definitely, yes, absolutely. Slash synth, as we might call them.
Sure.
But yeah, that was a nice piece. Although having a 600-plus-year-old synth suddenly be killed in this episode, I thought was a little excessive, but
right.
These two, Mal and Locke, essentially killed him. I mean, they did kill him. Not essentially, they did kill him.
But he's a Alton Song android. I feel he could be repaired or something. I don't know if it's gonna come back, but
yeah, I don't know either. And he's kind of shady, so It's definitely it's hard to know what triggered his reaction to the information that he got in the from the diary, but yeah,
he refused to give it back, you mean?
Yeah, like suddenly you refuse to give it back. That doesn't seem like how does he survive 600+ years in operating a business this way? I don't understand.
Sure.
For old tech, he survived the burn, survived the Time War, right? Or whatever.
True.
The whatever is it?
Yeah,
called the Time War or whatever. I don't remember what it's called.
The Temporal Cold War.
Thank you. The Temporal Cold War. Sorry, Time War is a Doctor Who thing.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I couldn't remember what Star Trek called it. So yeah, but I thought it was a nice Easter egg to see an android like that. But they ultimately murdered him. So I mean, he was going to murder them, I suppose. So
yeah, we'll see if he comes back.
Yeah,
I don't know if they have time for it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know how important crucial it is to the story that we know what happens to Fred anyway. But thought it was a nice little piece of this episode. So yeah, anything else for Red Directive that stands out for you?
No, I think we talked about most of it. I don't know if the Maul and Locke are very compelling as antagonists for this season. I mean, they're fine. They're just kind of helping to drive the story forward and making it a race of some sort. I didn't find them particularly interesting. So, we'll see
Nor
what
did
that
I
brings
pick up on
us.
what book picks up on as far as their relationship, which is what is part of the second episode, right?
Yeah. So
Under
at
the
least
Twin
there's some, I guess,
Moons.
emotional connection to them now versus like these randos. But
Right, yes. Well, there's a
yeah,
connection for book, right?
correct.
There's
Right.
no other connection. And the fact that Maul and Locke have a relationship, not unlike Michael and
Right.
Book, right? So, which
Correct.
I didn't quite see that, but whatever.
I think he was just kind of, like I think it was just he's probably missing Michael and their companionship and whatever Mo and Locke have kind of just remind him of that, like the freedom
Oh
that they
yeah, oh
feel.
yeah,
And
yeah.
before
Was re
Michael, Discovery came into the
to this, yeah,
or
second second,
32nd
yeah,
century. I was like
yeah.
31st, 32nd, whatever. That they, because we still don't know a lot about their time together. Wasn't there a book about it or something?
Yeah, there was a book about it. I don't remember too much about the book,
But
but
we
yeah.
don't know much about their time together as like couriers or whatever. I mean,
Right. But they did,
there are references, but about
yeah.
like that time when yada yada. But it's not like we saw
Yeah.
all of it.
Well, this time, when they're about to enter Fred's place, they're like in the past you've seen them list the same adventure that they were on
Right.
prior, and this
Mm-hmm.
time they weren't in Simpatico with that. They
Right.
both named something different, a different experience that they've referenced. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, and yeah, you kind of. I mean, again, so they're on an emotional. This is their emotional arc, right? So we have
Right.
this is sort of what's drive like which will possibly drive Michael during this season a little bit.
Do you feel that their relationship is over?
Um, I do I feel like it? No, I don't. I feel like this is like important to the Discovery mythos is that they are like they'll end up back together.
Okay. Okay.
Do I believe it's what is the word I'm looking for? Realistic? Yeah, I mean they've grown apart. It makes sense. Do
Right.
I think are they going to get back together? Probably because that's Michael's journey for the season. Part possibly. I'm losing my
Possibly.
ability to speak, but I just I don't know. I just don't know how believable it's going to be.
I think it would personally be, I'm personally like, it would be nice to kind of just see them maintain like a level of friendship without going back to a relationship or something romantic, because I do
Mm.
think that that would be more realistic because he did
Yeah,
betray Michael
yeah,
and it was for very personal reasons. It's not like it was completely out of nowhere, but still that he broke her trust, right? And he's back in some sort of good graces now, but that changes the way that you feel about someone. And even if you trust them again, doesn't necessarily mean that you love them the same way. I've never been in a relationship. I've never been betrayed in that matter. So I don't know. I'm just like speaking from a very, heady perspective. But
sure.
I think it would be kind of nice, slash, it would reflect real life to be, to go back to this place where you can just be friends and it's platonic versus it necessarily having to go back to something romantic, and they can love each other but in a different way.
Mm.
And that,
I mean,
that could
maybe
be
that's the
interesting.
journey. I mean, that would feel a little more realistic to me, I think,
Yeah.
than
And
just
maybe a little messy, but that would be real.
yeah. Look at you. You watch a drama in one day, and
No,
like suddenly
whatever.
you're like all sappy about their.
I mean,
No, I'm
but
kidding.
it's also a discovery. I don't, like I can totally see them just going back together or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out. I mean, yeah, he definitely seems different this season, which I like that. Their awkwardness comes through. Like this
mhm.
is really well acted. This is this feels real. I mean, it feels real that,
Right.
what happened last season caused this break and they didn't really reach out and talk to each other. Again, I'm not too sure on the whys behind that, but
well, I think it's kind of like he was focusing on his refugee project, and she's probably focusing on
got
trying
busy.
to be like
yeah,
a captain without some interstellar threat breathing down her neck. So it's like you just keep in your zones.
Yeah. So episode 2 begins the fetch quest. Fetch quest 1.
Yeah. Which I like that there's this callback to the Promelians. Is that how you say it? Promelians from Booby Trap. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's the planet. That's the Promelians. I don't even know.
Okay. This is the same as Booby Trap episode from
Yeah, so it's the same race. They just show their ship, the ship in Booby Trap that gets stuck. It's in the card is geeking out about it, and he wants to try to save it, but then they end up blowing it up. So it's the same race that kind of just fought themselves to extinction, like through war.
So that's why that clip appeared in my Instagram feed.
Yeah.
The whole escape from the booby trap, but I had no context for it.
Right, because when they were going through, I literally did some research because I was like, this sounds really familiar. They were kind of going through the different energy sources, and Zoro was kind of listing them off. They actually go. It ties back to Booby Trap when they're kind of like talking about the energies, because they didn't use antimatter to fuel their engines. So it's like use some sort of fusion drive. And I was like, I literally researched it, and I was like, oh, actually,
interesting.
Yeah, there's actually like an Easter egg to that Booby Trap episode.
Okay.
There's a lot of callbacks and deep cuts.
I mean, yeah, exactly. This is a huge callback and one I did not pick up on. So this is great to kind of talk through.
Because it was a very specific, because they were like, what's powering these drones,
right?
And Zora was like, during this time period, they used some sort of some specific type of fusion drive, and I was like, what is that? And I googled it, and it brought me to Memory Alpha. So and then I made that connection. So
got it. Okay,
I wouldn't have remembered Promelians, like if we were just like mention it, but
no, I wouldn't have either, and was not looking for another another TNG callback so quickly. So
we get brought to this planet. It's some sort of burial ground, and then Saru and Michael need to beam down but walk there. I'm not sure why they couldn't take a shuttle, but that's fine. They had to walk like a couple of kilometers to get.
Well, we haven't seen a shuttle in a while for Discovery.
But they still have shuttles. They must have shuttles.
Yes, I'm sure they do. But
that could have been a safer, faster way to get there, especially when they're racing around, racing against the clock. But here we are, so it's fine. I was like, why are they not using a shuttle? Like, if they can.
I did not. The shuttle did not even occur to me.
Yeah,
not at all.
Come on.
Nope.
Literally, racing against the clock. Let's speed this up, people. But it's fine. They had to do their walk and talk. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's their last mission together. Saru has made the decision to leave Discovery and to take a new role as ambassador to the smaller worlds, or a coalition of smaller worlds, and he has to resign his Starfleet commission in order to do this. So his last day of work is on this one mission.
Yeah,
which only takes a day.
And I'm glad to have seen. We saw President Rilke again.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure she's going to come back. So, and someone just pointed out to me very recently that the actress that plays her was on Man the High Castle. I didn't even register that.
Never watched that, so
I loved her character on Man the High Castle.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
I was more intrigued in that scene. It was, yes, I saw her. I was more intrigued by what species is the admiral to her right.
oh, I didn't
So
notice.
yeah, so very interesting looking CG character or whatever. But yeah, you should go back and just look at that.
Oh, I should rewatch.
Scene and see it's three admirals and her. It's not even, there's not another Federation representative.
Wait, there was a lot of CG with him going on?
It was a being that is not humanoid and looked like it was probably just like someone sitting there with a green cap on, and they put a alien and some hands too. So yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All right, I need to rewatch it.
To her right. So obviously Vance is to her left. There's another admiral next to Vance, and then the admiral.
Oh, completely missed it.
Her. Yeah, no, I was looking at it. I was like,
okay.
What species this is. And there's no listing because they don't talk, so they're not listed as characters.
Interesting.
Because that's when I went to Memory Alpha to check out them, but I was already there because I was checking out Lieutenant Jax from episode 1. So
I see.
So yeah,
got it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was nice to see her. That yes, and the tone has changed in the Federation to
like they're in peacetime, so it's just different.
Yeah, it's just different. Yeah, exactly. Also, just to go back, have we ever heard of Red Directive before today?
No. Okay, that was one thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the first episode. We never heard of Red Directive before, and I don't really feel the idea of it was fully fleshed out either, other than it's top secret. I didn't.
Right. And so also you learn towards the end of episode 2 that Raynor has been part of 7 of these Red Directives.
Right.
And led 4 of them. So.
Right. And like, what is a red directive other than top secret?
Yes.
It's like the only other thing I could think is like the Omega Directive, and that was outlined very clearly, like what it is.
Right.
But
that's the whole,
that was the whole thing.
Yeah. So that was there was something missing on the editing floor, or it was never written into.
No, it's very vague. Like it's super. Does it supersede the Prime Directive? I guess. Does it? Maybe.
Does the Prime Directive exist in the 32nd century?
I don't know. I don't know.
There we go. That is a good question.
I would imagine that it still exists in some form. I mean, it's a good prescription to go by. Like, don't just meddle.
Oh, maybe. So suddenly I'm having a flashback to the first episode of season 4 when they meet the butterfly people. Was that a first contact? Like Prime Directive situation?
Was a first contact situation, and I don't remember if they specifically quote the Prime Directive.
Yeah, I can't. That's the only other time I've thought of it. I think that it could possibly have been relevant. But anyway, anyway, going back to that was something that I just didn't feel like was.
No, it wasn't clear. It wasn't
clear what we were doing, but yeah. So anyway.
But I did appreciate how in this episode you kind of get those bookends with Raynor, and obviously his kind of like, I guess it's a hearing at the beginning of the episode, and then he gets the boot, and then by the end of the episode he becomes Michael's number 1, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, I was just thinking that, it's an interesting arc for him, and I'm kind of fascinated by where they kind of take his character for the rest of the season. I mean, it's the only thing about my own complaint is like, oh my god, we need to like focus on the character, given that it's the last season, which takes time away from our other characters that already don't have enough time. But it's fine.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'm totally like. It would have been great for Tilly to come back and be the first officer, or
maybe. I mean, like, I don't know if she did that well in command, or she was. I mean, she had a little bit of up and down.
But just something. It would have been nice to have, or one of the bridge crew, like Reese has acted as first officer, I
That's
think, in last
true.
season. So, could have given him a bigger role. And, you know, um, yeah. So I do kind of agree with that. That was why I was confused at having two captains in like and introducing a new captain. That was never really
Mm.
clear why there was this introduction of a new character. But
Hmm.
yeah,
I can
it's
just see
because
him
we're
being like a interesting foil to Michael, like, which I think that's what Michael needs. She needs someone that's, a strong character, and
yeah.
to what Suru was saying, someone that's willing to kind of support her, but also have, be able to stand their ground. And, he's a good character to put in the kind of role. I just kind of practically wish we didn't have another character to spend time on. That's all.
No, I totally agree. I mean, that's our biggest complaint of Discovery is that we keep on adding new characters rather than building on the ones that we've had for 4 years, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So, um, which thinking about this for some reason brings me to this season reel, but where there's a picture of him sitting in the command chair, which thinking about that made me think when Kovic was on the bridge and they were crashing into the planet, he never sat down. Like he never left the bridge, which is totally understandable, but also he never really sat down or got a seat. And the one thing I feel like from Discovery that you could really easily do is just add another seat on the bridge.
Yeah, and still a couple more chairs.
Observer,
like what? Like I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why there needs to be like one throne in the middle of the bridge. Like
yeah.
why can't you add more chairs? Like
right,
basically every other bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why? I mean, Saru always worked at the left, or Saru or Tilly worked at the left, the station to the command chair's right. We never were really clear on what the other station did or whatever. Anyway, actually, she bounced between whichever side, but anyway,
yeah, the XO should have a chair. The XO should have like
the XO should totally have a chair. I mean, so why not just programmable matter? 2 more chairs, have 3 chairs like you have on the Picard bridge,
or almost every other bridge,
and almost every other bridge, but also like give Kovic a place to sit down. So yes, that again another small complaint about Discovery, but it made me think of shouldn't
the Shenzhou didn't the Shenzhou also has similar design? Like there was just like her one chair, like
yes,
Captain Giorgio had.
Shenzhou,
I mean, but same design philosophy.
That was like 1,000 years ago.
Sure.
And also, all the ships of that time had one chair, like Kirk's chair.
That's true.
Strange New Worlds, like that's a very like that generation type starship situation.
That's true. Yeah.
But it doesn't really make sense for the 32nd century. But anyway, picky detail, but like, come on, programmable matter. Like, throw another chair up, an observer chair or whatever.
It's fair.
Anyway, especially when you're crashing into the planet, like everyone should be wearing seatbelts if we're going to crash into the planet and create this barrier to save.
They have inertial dampener, so it's fine. Theoretically.
And it would be nice to see another 32nd century bridge just to see.
I know. I don't think we're going to get it. It's too much money for them to build another bridge.
But it's not really. I mean, yes. I mean, with your AR wall, you could totally like do it. You didn't have to build a full set, or you could. Anyway, it would be nice to see what a 32nd century bridge looks like. But anyway.
It's not going to happen. I highly doubt that it's going to happen. But
we
have to work with.
Yeah. So
we talked about obviously the scene on the planet. It's taking them. All the clues are now taking them not to Beta Z. They're taking them to Trill. So obviously, this is setting up an Adira moment with Gray, who we have not seen in a while.
Right, exactly. Which you get if you watch the Ready Room, you see the preview and it's on Trill. So
Okay, I haven't watched it.
They're shorter now. They're a little bit more tightly. So it's only like 14 minutes long.
Oh,
I was
okay.
actually really surprised how short and like not so edited together, like with clips and all kinds of things. It was, I mean, there were clips obviously, but it was, yeah. So, yeah, you get the preview of next.
Do they show Gray?
Episode. They did, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and it references an experience from Deep Space Nine and Jadzia Dax. So, the whatever the transference experiences of meeting your previous hosts.
When what was the name of the episode? The DS9 episode?
Oh, I don't remember.
Facets? Is it Facets?
Maybe Facets. Maybe. But anyway, that experience is alluded to in the preview for the next episode. So, yeah,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it'd be good because we haven't really gotten too much of an update when it comes to their relationship. So,
and she said, sorry, they said, who are they talking to? I can't remember.
It is Facets. It's the Jantara ritual.
Yes, there you go. Yep, they specifically referenced that in the preview. But who were they talking to? Who was Adira talking to when this came up that they missed Gray? I can't remember, but
I think it was. I think Adira was talking to Tilly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we get to see what is, we get to touch on an experience for Adira. Again, another main character getting some fleshing out or more fleshing out.
I don't feel we've been spending too much quality time with. Like, she feels almost like tertiary. They feel almost tertiary.
Yeah.
Rather. So, I don't know. At least since,
especially since Tilly's back, it's almost like.
Right, because Adira was definitely Tilly's awkward replacement.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Especially in season 4. So now that Tilly's back, what is Adira's place?
Right. Yeah. But Gray is back and the Jantara is referenced in this clip. So, yeah. So, yes, we're off to Trill for the next fetch quest of a clue.
By the way, the clue, the Romulan poem or whatever, Saru figured out very quickly. I was like, opulent waters and shared minds. He was like, Betazed? I'm like, how did you get Betazed from that? Like,
yeah, I don't get the whole Betazed piece of that.
Just because there's like clear waters and shared minds. I was like, wow, you solved this really quick. So I was like, what?
And I don't know that so it's opulent, which to me doesn't mean crystal clear. Isn't like, it's almost like opal, like it's not
reflective.
Yeah, which is like the waters of Trill. So I don't know why. Like,
I don't know how they
skipped over that word, or if that's even the right definition. But
they problem solve very quickly on this show, as we have seen. I mean, they figured out the 10C language in 10 minutes. So whatever. We can go back.
Yes, thank you for reminding me of one of my anger points of last. Or
it's just a gripe. I was like, okay, maybe there's all this to do about the 10C language, and you figured it out in 10 minutes. Sure. Yeah. Whatever. It's fine. But yeah, this is an example where, okay, I guess we're,
like this whole Romulan quartet poem that they like is suddenly like common knowledge, or I guess, and like the backdoor thing, like all of these things that you like are kind of like not really well known details. Certainly, why would they know 24th century Romulan details like that?
Well, I think that's the thing about this show, because sometimes it moves very quickly, And I get it, like they got to just move the plot along, but it's again making these like leaps, like these like logical leaps that I'm like, I don't know how you arrived at this conclusion from this clue. You know, like
Right.
it just moves very quick. Sometimes the plot moves very fast.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the details are kind of sacrificed
Yes.
in service of that. So
of service of moving the plot forward. Yes.
yeah. Because they can just stay there, like, let's figure this out. Like, there's you have 2 minutes to do this.
But they did have it does give them an advantage over Maul and Locke,
Right.
supposedly. So there is that.
Yeah.
Piece of it.
Yeah. So anything else from this episode?
Nothing. I mean, I'm sure there are more details.
I'm sure they are. But those are things that stood out.
The fact, but yeah.
Bye, Saru. I'm sure we'll still see more Saru.
One of the things I felt was missing was like a formal goodbye, like him like walking, kind of like the end of season 3 when Burnham walked onto the bridge and they were all lined up on either side. I feel like there was an opportunity to do that same thing with Saru, right, even if he was walking towards the view screen and like beamed out right as he reached the end of it. And
yeah, I guess there wasn't like a goodbye of the entire crew.
Yeah.
It was really just him and Michael saying goodbye to each other.
Yep.
Because that would have been nice to kind of get that from everyone. Because he's worked with these people for years. I mean,
this was his crew for the first couple of episodes of season 3.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
Actually,
that's
for all of season 3 up until the end before he made her captain.
No, that's a missed opportunity. I agree with that. To just have, and I get that Saru and Michael have that history and that emotional connection, but I mean, he has served this entire crew for years, so it would have been nice to kind of get that with everyone.
Yeah.
But
I guess see you later. As a missed scene from that episode was a farewell to Saru and a meaningful farewell from the entire crew.
Yeah.
Especially since they're going to bring on a new first officer in the next episode. So yeah,
right.
Unless we see it at the beginning of episode 3, which neither of us have watched.
I know,
which is fine. I didn't really, having an early screener will probably be helpful later in the season, but for right now, I'm like, it's fine.
It's fine.
I mean, I'm sorry. The other thing too is with our screeners, we don't get the closed captioning. So
I know. Sometimes I love the closed captioning because I'm like, I don't know what words they're saying because they are all made up words, but I love closed captioning.
Yeah, it is helpful. Yeah. Well, that wraps up our Discovery premiere coverage, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, I guess we have 8 more weeks of Discovery. So that's going to bring us, oh my God, into June.
Into June, yeah.
Wow.
Into June.
It's like, wow, it's going to bring us into like summer almost.
Yeah, I mean, it will, yes. It will definitely bring us into, what is it? Yeah, April 4th.
Yeah.
So 8 more episodes. Yeah.
Wow. Time's gonna go by fast.
It will. I am glad that we're out of March. March was the longest month ever. It always is. So I'm glad that we're here in April and we're working our way towards warmer weather. Although it's like undecided whether it will. I think we're just going to go from
that's springtime though. Springtime's always like it's sometimes chilly, sometimes really nice. Like that's how it is in New York.
I'm already over the cold weather and the coldish weather, and just bring on summer.
I guess I'm not looking forward to humidity, but it's fine.
Well, I mean, you don't leave your apartment unless there's a social engagement anyway, so.
I guess
Sometimes,
so.
and sometimes you don't even, you have food delivered and don't even leave for days.
Oh yeah, no, I can stay in my apartment for days on end. It's fine.
Yes, yeah,
You know, it's
your
not a
air
problem.
conditioned environment,
Correct. My
So
my environment where the ambient temperature is closely monitored and controlled.
yes,
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
yes,
All right, cool. All right, so I
yeah,
guess we will be seeing where the Discovery crew takes us in coming weeks, and yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I know sometimes I can be a little bit down about Discovery and a little critical, but it is last season, so without Discovery, we wouldn't have modern Trek at all.
that is
And
true.
want
Yeah,
to remember that for all of us, even those of us that are critical sometimes. But yeah, it's just see where this last season takes us.
yeah, and yeah, and I hope that the crew gets the send off that they deserve
I hope
for
so.
for the
Yeah, I hope
work that
so.
they. And I feel like we'll probably see some of them in Starfleet Academy, since that was the other detail that we did
Yes.
not confirm, but it was confirmed that
Now we
it's
have
30 second
final
final
confirmation.
that it's in the 32nd century.
Right. It's
So
definitely,
yes.
and it's gonna be in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, that was, I think that
Okay.
was part of the Variety article. They're building the set, and one of the things that you see out the windows is the Golden
The
Gate
Golden Gate
Bridge.
Bridge. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
So,
All right.
which
Very
I'm happy about because I'm not a fan of the new Federation headquarters. It's
oh
just like,
yes.
it's very like sterile and like it feels very CG. It's just like all white or silver. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it has like
Yeah.
very little personality.
Yep.
So it'll be nice to kind of go back to my favorite city, San Francisco. But definitely like, the I don't know if they're going to be, if that's just going to be Starfleet Academy or Federation headquarters is going to have like some sort of station there, but at least the old stomping grounds of Starfleet Academy. So
Yeah. It reminds me of Star Trek 2009, right? Where you could they could walk
yeah.
out of that main building and look at
And
the
you see the
Golden
bridge
Gate
right there.
Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
See the whatever, I forget what the big ship was. They crashed through it or whatever. They didn't
Are you talking about when the
into
Narada
dark?
was?
No, the Narada? No.
No, well, we see Surf Academy in 2009 Star Trek when the Narada is like drilling in on Earth, remember?
Oh, right.
And then
Yes.
the drill falls down into the SF Bay.
Right, yes. In Into Darkness doesn't the Vengeance is it Into Darkness? Yes.
Does it? I don't remember.
Doesn't it crash into
Does
there?
it? I don't remember. Oh man, I only seen it once.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Well, there we go.
I can probably rewatch that and beyond. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And beyond. Yeah. Um
So
yeah. I for some reason I can't remember if the Vengeance takes out the part of the bridge when it's crashing to Earth or not.
I don't remember. I don't remember that. I mean, I I know there's this whole scene with Khan and Spock.
Right.
That,
Over the city or whatever.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't recall. It's been so long
Yeah, I can't
since I
remember
saw
where the Vengeance
Into Darkness.
crashes.
Literally, I just saw it once that opening weekend in the theater, and that was it. So I don't
Oh
know.
wow. Oh wow.
And that was what 2011, 2012 or something.
2012. I don't know.
That was a long bitch. That was a long time ago.
No, yes.
The fact that I
was a
remember
little-
even like bits and pieces is like it's a miracle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No.
all right, cool. All right.
Cool.
Well, that's all we got for now. And yeah, we'll be back. What's the next episode?
I don't even know what the name they released the name.
Well, they released all the names.
All the names,
It
yeah.
should be
Should be on
simple.
Memory
So
Alpha.
the next episode, Janal.
Oh yes,
is
Janelle.
named.
Right.
So
Yes. So
Which,
spoiler
again, takes us
report
to
on
show.
that is that Janelle is the name of the symbiont. that we are going to do this Shantara with.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not really spoiling it because if you watch the Ready Room, I mean, the name is there. I think, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So,
and episode 10 airs on May 30th, according to Wikipedia. So,
okay.
Oh my God. There we go. It's like Memorial Day. It's like,
yeah, that is Memorial Day weekend. Or
can't we already talk about May? It just feels so far away.
Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about May. I'm going to enjoy life is passing April by very quickly.
April chilly weather, which you also don't want. You want it to be July right now. So there's a tension.
I would prefer,
there's a tension there. You don't want
like, I like 70s. Just give me some 70s. I know what to wear.
No, 70s will be definitely July. It will be definitely be 70s in July.
Well, yes, but
so all right.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be back in a week or two to talk about some more Discovery. And
wait, what about our sponsor?
Our sponsor is Fansets. Yes.
It's been a while since we recorded. Apparently, we've like totally forgotten to run our show. But here we are.
I mean, go away from podcasting for 100 days, and
this is what you get. Yeah,
this is what you get.
Our three listeners is what they get.
I mean, our banter is still good, and we talked about a lot of Star Trek and some other stuff we're watching, and so sure, definitely head on over to Fansets.
Well, what's going on Fansets, Mike?
I actually just had to pull up their website and see what's new. So, yeah. If you go to fansets.com, you can check out all the pins, including some new Star Trek pins. They do have the original series Delta gold medal magnets and pins, so that is new. They also have this Retrospect Studios Pure Logic Mr. Spock Gold. I don't know what that is. It says a gold signed gold edition, but I'm not sure who signed it, because if it's Spock, who is signing this?
I mean, there are other
not Leonard Nimoy.
Zachary Quinto.
So, no, it does not say Zachary Quinto either. So
there's only so many Spocks to choose from.
Well, I don't even know if it's This pin is a representation of the incredible talent of Kavita Maharaj. I'm sorry to not be able to say that correctly.
Cool.
As demonstrated in her piece, Pure Logic. This is a limited production run of 100 gold medal pins on a backer card personally signed and numbered by Kavita. There we go.
Oh, okay. By the artist.
So, yes. So head on over to fansets.com. You can check that out on the front page of their website. Actually, it's on. If you scroll down, you find the new releases there, including a Star Trek Mr. Spock doing the hand gesture, live long and prosper, micro crew pin, among a variety of other pins that you can get there. Head on over. Put a bunch of pins into your cart if you're going to spend more than much. It's not very hard to spend more than $30 at Fansets. So put a bunch of pins in your cart. You're going to get free shipping over $30. And if you use the code word Trek Geeks, all one word, all caps, you're going to get 10% off your order. And we want to thank Fansets for being the exclusive sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Thanks, Fansets. And we would love to hear from you all three of you, when it comes to these first two episodes of Discovery Season 5, or you have tips and pointers or feedback for two podcasters who have just come back from 3 months off and you want to give us your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us via Twitter and Instagram at DSpacePride, or you can send us a quick email at deepspacepride@gmail.com.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing everyone, hearing from everyone, whatever, next time.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Like, whatever way you contact us, if you contact us at all.
At all.
If you listen to this episode, just let us know you listened.
Correct.
Or not. Right. I mean, again, whatever.
Whatever. All right. Well, in the meantime, live long and prosper, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great
Bye.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.